Greetings. Welcome to another broadcast of I Have a Testimony. I'm your host, Brother Willie Muhammad.
God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.
Thank each of you all for joining us for part 2 of our interview with Sister Medina Muhammad, who's the daughter of Sister Bernstein Sharif Muhammad, who served as the only secretary to Master Farad Muhammad, and Brother John Muhammad, who's the biological brother of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Sister Medina shared with us some of the challenges that our early Muslim community had to face. And she's also joined for this session of this interview with her brother, Brother Nur. But before we get to that, we're going to show some of the clip from Brother Carlos talking about some of the difficulty that the early Muslim community faced when trying to educate our own children.
Yeah.
Now, Muhammad University of Islam was the grounds on which we entered into our first fight. Our first battle with law enforcement was not over the sales of a newspaper or selling bean pies or any of that. This was actually done because we wanted to set up a school to teach our own children. And as a result of the children being taken out of the public schools and beginning to be taught in Muhammad University of Islam, this caused a fight after they raided our temple on Hastings Street and basically wanted to charge the followers with contributing to the delinquency of minors. And so this is an actual photo of some of the action that took place that day in Detroit. And these are some of the followers that are being arrested.
And as I said, she's joined by her brother, Brother Nur Mohammed, who will share some of the history he learned from his father, Brother John Muhammad, the Supreme Minister, the brother of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum to both of you all, and thank you all for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know our sister would like to start off the interview by giving thanks, which is always good. Go ahead, Sister Medina.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Listening audience, and like to thank Allah by saying, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I openly testify that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is indeed his last messenger and servant. I want to also thank Minister Farrakhan for bringing back to the minds of the people the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad. For without the ministers doing, we would not be we would not have a reason to speak about the history of the Nation of Islam and its beginning, and we would not be sitting here today if it was not for the Honorable the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I thank Allah for my parents and the service and sacrifices that they have done for the Nation of Islam, that we are able to share with you what we have to share. It is because of them, and there's much sacrifices. I asked my mother, as she was literally on her deathbed, how did she want to be remembered? And she said she wanted the world to know of her sacrifices for the Nation of Islam. So thank you, and I pray that we will continue to be able to share with you this great, great history of ours. Because if, like the minister said, if you don't know the root, you will not know the tree. So we are here to help to give you some inspiration and motivation for this day of our beginning, of our independence, on our 4th of July, 1930 when Master Fard Muhammad came and made himself known. So peace be unto you, and let's go.
Let's go get straight into it. So, brother Noor, your sister shared with me about how you are in the process of writing a book about your father, and you're joining us today to share insight about him. And we're thankful for his work as well as one of the founding early members of the Nation of Islam. So can you share with us, any moments that your father shared with you about his time with the Savior, as well as during the early days of the Nation of Islam?
First, I'd like to give thanks to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and thanks and praise to Allah for allowing us to have this opportunity today. I'm writing a book on my father about recollections, just moments that he had with Master Farad. I'd like to read to you a piece that I had wrote down. He said his teachings was in the city of Detroit on Russell and Sherman Street. He rented a hall, the UNIA Hall. Some people say Marcus Garvey took his teachings and the Master Farad took his teachings and mixed it all up and gave it to us, but no, he didn't. That was where the Honorable Marcus Garvey was at, at that time. He was there. So he used to play on the hills there where he was a child with a skate box, where that building was at. He said, so I go there after Master Farad Muhammad came and heard him. He said, I stayed there all night long. I liked what he said. He said, I like what he said. I liked the knowledge that he had. It was different from what he was learning in school. Nobody told him about being a nation of people in the days I went to school. 1923, I went to school right there at that corner. The school was called the Cabram School. I lived at Clinton Street between Russell and Revolve. I went to the temple there to hear Master Farad Muhammad. I have heard about him, my brother, the messenger, my father, and others. My brothers, we went there and sat there all night long. So one night, it came a storm while we were sitting there. Some of the people got afraid. Every time lightning, they would jump. He looked at them. Master Farad looked at them and said, don't be afraid. That's nothing. It's only cold air and the hot air meeting. And when they meet, they make a light. And after the light, you hear the noise, which is the thunder. He said, don't be afraid. You can do that. We sat there and got a little bit eased, he said. It was long before the storm was over. When it was over, we were still listening to Master Farad teaching the history of the 6,000 years of white people being birthed on this earth. Then, after that, we began to work for him to get people of our kind to come to the temple to hear this man from the East. He said to us, he was born in the holy city of Mecca.
Wow.
So that's a piece that that's a piece that I'm putting in the book, Recollections. So he said a lot of things about Master Farad, and his experiences, and how he healed him, and how he became a minister. And,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, just that little piece is significantly large, man. So thank you for that. And you know, in the booklet, also in the booklet that you all put together that talks about the early women in the Nation of Islam, your mother is mentioned, and it made me think about like your mother and your father were working together in the mission with the Savior, with the Muhammad Muhammad. Did they ever share with you all any stories about how they met each other? Like were they at the temple and you know?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I remember my father talking about him and Brother Ben Sabbakan. How they were standing, I think probably in the secretary's office or something, looking out in the audience. And my
you know how y'all do. You know how y'all do.
my mother was sitting there. He described her hair, how she had these bangs, you know. And she was sitting there, and Ben Sabbakan asked him, what you think about her? And he said, she's nice, you know. And the story goes on after that. So.
Then did your mother give you her side of the story or what?
Yes, sir. She said one of the things that she said was that she noticed that he was always watching her, and she said she was thinking to herself, "Why is he always watching me?" So finally, he got up enough nerve, and he wrote her a letter we still have.
Yeah.
We still have that
letter. That note today.
Still have it today.
That's right.
That he wrote to her.
Yeah. And
he asked her, was she married? Asking her personal questions. And he also said, in fact, I showed it to the minister. And the minister was saying how respectful that was. Because he said, if you were married, don't respond. Right. And if she was not, write him back. He gave his address and everything in the letter, and said, "Write me back and let me know." And so my mother she responded back, and she hadn't seen him. She was saying, and she was thinking to herself, "Oh, I haven't seen him." So she was liking him too, and she was looking for him, but playing hard to get. So she was looking for him, and she said, "Oh," and then when she finally saw him, she said, "Oh, there he is," to herself. Yeah. Very excited. She said, "Oh, there he is." And so we're here now.
Right.
Whoa. That was before the text messages and social media. He hit it off with that letter. So look, we're coming up on our first break already, but when we come back, I want to talk to you more about, because you mentioned it to both of you all, about the sacrifices of your parents, whatever you all can share about that. But that story right there, y'all didn't. We early in the interview, y'all done already dropped 2 jewels. My goodness.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For these public announcements from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And we're back, brothers and sisters, with the dynamic duo. We have the brother and the sister, and what they just shared is like the story how the father and the mother met. Just beautiful story, and even with principles that we can learn a lot and use today. Now, you spoke about, and both of you all can share because you experienced this, just the sacrifices of your mother and your father. You know, Sister Medina talked about in part 1 about just how some of your siblings were actually taken. You know, so what was your sacrifices? Because your mother said she wanted to be known, her legacy.
Yes, sir. She went through much as a woman coming up in the nation and dealing with, she was the first one of the first 9 laborers, and she was the only female. So that was that's a sacrifice within itself. All the rest were men, and she was the only female. She mentioned, I can recall her mentioning how she was folding papers, because back then in 1930, early 1930s, the type of typewriter that she had to use, a typewriter, to type. It had no letters on it. She's typing 98 words a minute with a 95% accuracy. That's what she graduated with from. I think I got the number. And she graduated from high school with that type of skill. And then
the kind of typewriter.
The kind of typewriter
she had to really use her strength.
Yeah,
to push those buttons down.
She said the keys were
really hard.
They were real hard.
Real hard.
So and then there was no copier.
There was no copier.
No copier.
Yeah.
The best she could have is a little carbon piece between two pages.
And carbons were way out, so you got to get new ones.
Right. So then she had to cut, if she wanted maybe two things that she's trying to type. It's on the same page, so she's trying to do two, cut that in half, and so she didn't do that properly, so it was a little raggedy on the end, and which is spoken about in the book, how Master Farad handled her with that, and he asked the brothers, because she was making copies for them, and he asked the brothers, "Do you all want a copy of this? It looked like the dogs were chewed on."
Right.
And of course, she said, of course, they're going to say no. And so he said, well, they don't want one, and you keep this. This for you. Because he asked her, did she find anything wrong? She said no. And he said, well, this for you. So being, just being, I hate to say the word treated, but not in a negative sense, but handled in that type of way, was very, very hard. That's a sacrifice to, like I said, keep in mind, that's a 17-year-old that we're talking about that has experienced, had endured that type of behavior. And it had a real impact on her.
Yeah.
But it's something that she learned from later in life and stuck with her. One of her positions that she did was she was the one that many believers came to that had to recite. They had to recite in order to get their X. And she made sure you made no mistake. Just as like Master Farad treated her and the way he was toward her, she carried that on. She carried that out through her whole life. She was definitely a perfectionist. I mean, if she was here today, I'm telling you, she probably would tell me I'm sitting wrong. She probably might say, don't say it like that.
Say it like that.
She probably, she was a perfectionist and everything. Don't let her send us after something to look for in the house and we didn't find it. Oh my God. If she come find it, I'm telling you, it's right there and you don't find it.
If it was a snake.
If it was a snake, it would have bit you. And I mean, it's so much, but those type of training to us, because that's what it was, to make us better people.
That's right. Today
in our adult life. So the sacrifices, one of the biggest ones was the children taking.
Right.
I don't know if I have enough time. I'd like to go through that just kind of quickly and briefly. But when the children were taken and they came to the house one morning and the children were in the bed, and the lady that came to the house had told her that she was going to go upstairs and get the children herself.
Right.
And she said, no, I will get them. And when she got them up herself, she was talking to them and telling them to go in the name of Allah and to remember Allah.
That's right.
To remember Allah. She always, that was one of the, if you ask me what is the number one thing to remember in terms of my mother and leadership, was to believe in Allah, to fear Allah. Fear Allah.
That's right.
Always. Allah was always number one. Remember Allah much. Whenever we left the house, go in the name of Allah.
Wow.
Always Allah. Always.
Allah.
And she was it was just a demonstration of her strong faith that she would go take her own children and hand them, her babies, her younger children, and at the same time being 7 months pregnant with her 12th child.
On a strict diet.
Yeah.
Wow.
She hands her children over to the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
What a woman. Oh my goodness.
And she couldn't call nobody. She said, can I call my husband? Can I call my minister? Can I call somebody? They
Only
wouldn't let her
Allah.
call nobody.
Whew. What a woman.
What a woman.
And when
and I often ask people today, is that a sacrifice you would make for your faith?
I don't know if many can do that. And it's interesting. I've never met your mother, but when I was talking to you, by looking at the images that you sent, the pictures of her, I can see her strength from the way she stands. I can see it. And even I saw some pictures. I was like, one of them, it looks like her eyes are closed, but I saw another one. She's one of those people that when she smiles, her eyes close, like her cheeks are, and it's, I was like, wow, that's something. So, Brother Nur, any words you want to share about the sacrifices as well? Beautiful job too, Sister Medina. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I've often heard her talk about the hours she spent typing.
Yeah.
You know, I asked her a few times when she was typing. I said, "Ma, how are you able to look at paper and your hands are here? You're doing this
and have a conversation with somebody. Yeah.
And that was just so amazing to me, you know. And we would sit around and talk about it as children, you know. How was she able to do that?
Yeah.
So I found out also that she couldn't use the modern typewriters. If she couldn't hit the keys hard, you know, they came up with the typewriters with the soft keys, you know, you just gently touch. She didn't want them. So she often talk about her hours. She, you know, working and making those copies.
Yeah.
After she did the copies, she would also teach school. She would teach different students student enrollment. You know, they would come to her and recite the student enrollments as believers. She did so much, man. You know, she did so much. Praise be to Allah.
Listen, praise be to Allah. And my appreciation for her, even from started with reading the booklet, but hearing what you all are sharing even more so. You know, I just saw a brother, one of the responses, he said he didn't even know Master Farrakhan Muhammad danced. This is how significant what you all are sharing is to our nation. It helps us to be balanced. And my question, like, did you all like growing up, like you ever asked your mother any like questions specifically about Master Farrakhan Muhammad or the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Oh,
Yeah. I asked her mother one time, where did he stay? And she told me he was way out. She said he would come pick me up and we'd go way out, Woodland, way out somewhere. And I found out from my father, he stayed in Ferndale, you know, and they went there for a picnic one time.
Yeah, that's where
they went there for a gathering and they played baseball and stuff. Yeah, they often talk about that time.
Wow.
In Ferndale, I'm gonna drop another on you real good for the weather listeners.
You guys have a tag team.
Yeah, we tag team. Because when you mentioned Ferndale, it brought something else.
Okay.
That to say real quick.
Yeah.
Ferndale was one of the locations of. There was a Caucasian brother. His name was Willie Muhammad. He was known as the walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He stayed in Ferndale because he was one of the many who had what they considered a fine home.
Right.
And if you know anything about the Detroit area, Ferndale is a suburb where it is nice. I guess it still is. Well, it is.
It's pretty mixed.
Yeah, it's pretty mixed nice. So this very nice area.
It's across 8 Mile. 8 Mile divides the suburban areas. Like these are like neighboring suburbs to Detroit. So I don't know if you ever hear about Detroit. 8 Mile. 8 Mile is that area. So Ferndale was on the other side of 8 Mile. And I heard my father say one time that his brother Johnny used to go out there and hunt. And I'm like, at 8 Mile? Right. So, because I'm thinking stores and all of this. Right, we see. And, so that goes to show what type of neighborhood that was back then. If Master Farrakhan stayed in Ferndale, they That was a very secluded area.
And so that was one of the houses where they partied at.
Right. They went there. Yeah.
And it's interesting, sister. I forgot about that because I remember reading this, and then when you said it, it brought it back up. You did mention, it is mentioned in, I believe, the Pathway of Islam, that the Caucasian guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a Caucasian.
He's Caucasian.
Blue-eyed Caucasian.
Yeah.
And his name was Willie Muhammad.
Willie
He was
Muhammad.
one of the good helpers to Master Fard in well, I'm saying too much. We
Yeah,
got-
Save that for the book and the documentary.
I'm saying too much. I'm saying we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna leave it right there.
Hey, I'm with, because if for those people who are watching, get the book Pathway of Islam. You'll learn a little bit more
Right.
into this, but
And
no, that's
books.
Right, and the upcoming books.
and the upcoming books too.
Yeah,
Wow, that is beautiful, man. That is amazing, and just that history, you know, because with the sister, I read it in Brother Wakil Allah's book when they went to court. I think her name was Sally Allah. It was a young girl.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sally Allah. Yes, sir. She was one of the teachers. Well, there I go again.
I think the picture's on the front of the
We have
it.
Sally. It is on the front of.
Yeah.
Look at that book there. No, Sally Allah might be on the front of
I
that.
think she's on the front of that.
The one with all the.
We have a young picture of her, as a matter of fact.
No, not
Wow.
it's
It's got
another
the four
set.
pictures.
All the. I might have put it in that.
Yeah, we'll get it. So is in one of the pictures?
You see a
Is it
brown
with the?
envelope over there?
Is it the one with all of the sisters like
Right.
The one with all the sisters.
in their uniforms, right?
No, she's not.
She's
on
not on here.
She's not on here. She's not on.
Wow.
Yeah.
But- and even think about this, like what Sister Medina shared and what you all have in the book about the early women. You know, the enemy is trying to make us rivals of one another between the blacks and the browns, the Hispanics.
Yeah.
And here, like when you said it, how Mexicans, they're known for dealing with beans, and it was a sister of that ancestry, of that ethnicity, that helped produce the bean pie.
That not help. That did.
Did
That
the bean pie.
created the bean. She
Right.
created the bean pie. And
Think
from
about
there,
that.
of course, it has changed. You know,
Yeah,
that's where the idea comes from.
came from
That's
our sister.
That's
So, who y'all listen? I'm telling you, even is a lot, y'all. Listen, what y'all sharing is so many jewels. I can imagine when people who hit it, they're like, wow. But it helps us to understand our nation. So we coming up on our first break, and we'll be back with our dynamic duo, Lord have mercy, and to continue this great interview. Stay tuned for our public sponsors. And we are back with our guests, and I so hope, inshallah, that we have the opportunity to return to having an in-person Savior's Day to witness and engage in more of the historical archives. But thank you all. Now, and this is a question I'm glad that I had the opportunity to have you all, because I would always see this picture, and in fact, I thought it was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan visiting one of these musicians that he looked up to, until I found out, no, that's the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's brother, right? So can you all share with us, I don't know if you all were there, just whatever you know about this meeting and just this picture.
Okay, yes, sir. Earlier that day, and yes, sir, we were there. It was a house full, actually.
Right. Full, actually, yeah.
We were there. Earlier that day, the minister came. In fact, he was in Detroit for about a week, and he was traveling to different places, speaking, a couple of churches. He went even into the Dearborn area. And
Matter of fact, he spoke that night.
He spoke that night.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. He spoke that night. And he wanted us, he requested a meeting. This was in October of 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And he requested a meeting with as many of the Muhammad family in Detroit that he could get.
Right.
My brother, who we just mentioned, is not living anymore. He's returned to Allah. May Allah be pleased with my brother Fard Muhammad.
Yes.
And the minister's son Joshua
Mm-hmm.
helped to coordinate everything.
Right.
And so we had a meeting at the hotel with the minister. We sat down probably about 3 or 4 hours, And the minister said he wanted to see my father. He said, I want to see Dad. And so he was able to come to the house and visit with my father. So when my father came and to sit down, the minister asked him where was his favorite seat in the house. He said, in my room. And so
he was serious.
And he was serious because that was where he was at. A lot of times was in his room.
He was in his room.
And so so my dad sit down on the couch, and the minister said, I'm going to sit right here. So he took the floor.
Right.
And he said, so they had a beautiful conversation between the two of them. And it was good to see because, like I said, the minister really wanted to see him. And my father had expressed that he had went to Chicago recently, and he was looking for him at the Salam restaurant. And he had said that, so the conversation, the way that picture looked, it's just that. It looks like there was nobody else there.
Right.
They were so engaging to each other, and they both shed tears. With the words that they were speaking to each other. That was a beautiful moment. And he said, he told my father, well, he said, no, Dad, you sit on the couch, I will sit on the floor. And he said, the old is for counsel. He said, the old is for counsel. He said, I'm here to seek counsel. He said, the old is for counseling. And it was a beautiful moment. There were other things said, but I'm not going to, I don't know if I should.
Gotcha. I got you.
So I'm going to leave it right there.
I understand.
It was a beautiful conversation.
Yes. Listen,
I would ask the minister first before I would go any further.
Listen, what you shared already is if I don't hear anything else, just what you shared already is beautiful. And Brother Nur, you have any recollections you want to add? Stuff that you can share?
Not at this time. Because we had a good long meeting with the minister that day at the hotel, and
good.
One of the things he talked to us about was the history.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad that you look how Allah's working, because that's my next question. Like can you share for those who are watching this, both of you all, like the minister's joy and excitement and the value that he sees in the archives and in the history that your family has made it possible for us to have access to?
He had we had another meeting with him about the history, the documents, all of the things that we have. And me and my sister had went to Chicago, and we laid everything out for him to take a look at and just walk and just gaze and speak his mind. And we had a great time that day too. The main thing he said was to share with the believers, and I'll just leave it like that. So
he told us to make sure. He told us a couple of things really, and one of the things I would like to let everybody know too. He said he spoke with us on many occasions, about 4 times, just the family, and the importance of us sharing the history, because he said that, in fact, that day, October, the same day he sat with my father, he said that that there were many believers coming into the nation that had questions about the history. He said they're asking questions that even I can't answer. And he said, you all have the answer. He said, because of who your parents are. So he said, at that time, I'm going to tell you the truth, I wasn't even going to the mosque. I was still a Muslim, but I was not active. And a few of us sitting there, we was not active, because once the separation came, and once the messenger departed or died, or however way it went or supposed to went, everybody just kind of stood still. And so that was a moment where
my sister.
So that was a moment where I kind of stood still, but he came and he did this about 4 times. We had all of it is recorded and documented. And so many times he reached out to us for help. He reached out to us, and all we could do once we a lot of times saw the value of it somebody want to sell something, get rid of something, and all of that.
Yeah.
But the minister said, "You all are the caretakers of it."
Mm-hmm.
Caretakers. He said, "The only thing I would like to see is sometime I may have questions." He said, and to help me in my mission, and to help share, so if you can share some things with me. So he have asked us, and we have gladly given him anything he had asked for. But what was so impressive to me is that I never knew he didn't have anything to work with but his heart.
But his heart, yeah.
That blew my mind, because I thought he had some sort of direction, some sort of book, some sort of something, but he had none of it. Everything he has done was solely as himself, from his heart. Mm-hmm. And when he said he needed, I was like, "You need something? What do you need what you need?" It really surprised me that he needed something, as much work that he has done in the building that he has done, that he needed some information, because he has done extremely well by his heart.
That's right.
He has done extremely well. So I thought he had the manual already. I thought he had it.
Wow.
He had it. I thought he had it.
That's powerful. What you just said, and Brother Nur, you have anything you want to add? Because I know as you hear her and she hear you, thoughts pop up in your mind. So,
not at this time. I can't really think of anything.
Wow, so, man.
That's what made me start coming back. When I saw how he really was on point. And let me say this too. I want to say this too. I don't want to forget. I mentioned it to my brother-in-law. The minister said, oh God, he left me just that quick. Must wasn't meant for me to say. It'll come back. When it comes back.
While you working to pull that back up, I'm gonna ask Brother Nur. I asked Sister Medina this question.
I know.
You got it? Go ahead.
Go ahead. I asked my father before he left, and when he was in I Felt Sound Mind, I asked him before I really started coming back, being active in the nation. And I caught him in the kitchen one day, and I asked him, what did he think about Minister Farrakhan? And he said, these is exact words. He said, he is the onlyest person I see that's teaching the teachings of my brother.
Wow.
That was enough for me. That's what he said. I even told the minister the same thing. I said, my father told me X, Y, Z. He said, tell him with his help.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's the onlyest one I see that's carrying on the teachings of my brother.
Praise be to Allah. And listen, I'm telling you, I know there's so much you all want to share, but you can't because you with the books. But what you all are sharing is a lot. Listen to me. What you all are sharing is a lot. So listen, I'm telling you, don't walk away thinking like, man, we should know. What you all are sharing is a lot, and is what Allah wants to be shared. And before we go into this break, I'm gonna ask you, Brother Nur, because I asked her. We got 4 minutes to the break. Like, when you have those moments, like, wow, my mother and my father were with the Savior, and I'm their son, and I'm their son, and my sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are those moments like for you?
Oh man, amazing. Sometimes it breaks me to tears.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about my mother. I'm thinking about the person who helped me when I was sick, So it brings me to tears at times. But I'm very honored and respectful for what the work that left me did. The work that left behind is just awesome. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about my parents. None of this is me. This is all them.
Right.
Their dedication, their courage. I don't even know if I would have had the courage to do some of the things that they did. How dedicated am I to what I believe in or what I feel about anything, really. But I really learned that as I got older. As a child, I was hearing the stories. You know, I was hearing, make sure when you cook your food, put turmeric in it. You know,
Right.
I was hearing those kind of things. You know, Master Farrakhan said this, and that. Then some of the times when her and my father would sit there before they met each other, they would have conversations about what Master Farrakhan said. You know, they were at the same meeting, but they didn't know each other. So those things was amazing. And, you know, just sit back and think of that. You know, and today we'd be honored because of work.
Because of them.
Yeah, you know.
Listen, and the fact that I know they'll be so proud to see that you all through the booklets, through the interviews, through the exhibit, helping to continue the work and the history of what they sacrificed and gave their lives. And y'all got me. I don't have any tissue or anything. I got my eyes watering and all of that. I don't want to wipe it with my suit. And he got my eyes watering. So look, we coming up to our next break, and then we're gonna be back, man, with this very heartwarming and heartfelt and beautiful interview by our brother and our sister. So thank you all for tuning in. Let's check out our public sponsors. We're back. My eyes have the moisture has like dried out, so I can carry on. We're back with our brother and our sister Medina and brother Nur. And the question I want to ask both of you all, because I think brother Nur, that's when I believe I saw you at Saviors Day doing one of the exhibits. Can you all just share more about the feedback that you all get from believers when you were there in Detroit doing Saviors Day with the archives? And I saw Sister Medina, you've actually done some at the actual mosque there in Detroit as well. Can y'all talk about those experiences and feedback?
Oh, we was looking at that picture.
Yeah.
You just showed the brother that hooked up our website.
Yeah.
Oh, that's him. We found it.
Eric Majette.
All right, Eric, we shouting you out.
All right, shouting them out. We just found that on. I thought that was just somebody visiting Saviors Day. Look how a lot works.
That's right. That's right.
Part of the team,
actually, yeah, he was right next to us at the exhibit. He had some items that he had brought to the exhibit also. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. What was the question again? Because
just like in regards to, like, I've seen pictures of you giving. Like I saw it was Mother Khadijah and some of the Farrakhan family. Just like what the feedback that you all get from people outside, inside the nation, the family, everybody.
Go ahead.
The feedback, actually, brother Willie, is what gives me the motivation to move forward. It shows me that I'm in the right place and I'm doing the right thing with what we have. The feedback is heartwarming. I've seen people, and I mean I've seen men, read the handwritings of Master Farrakhan, looking at the pen that he actually used, the handkerchief that he had given to my mother, the gifts that he had given to my mother, and I've seen the response of people, and I'm like, wow. And I'm talking, and I'm looking at the people, and the same thing happened with the minister. We sit down with the minister, and I'm just talking, and he said, wait, hold it. He said, you giving me goosebumps, hold it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it like, but sometimes you don't know the effect you have on a person until you get in their space.
Right.
You have to get into their way of thinking, their feeling, and what we have affects their life. Because this is not some little mediocre little nothing. This wasn't just no mister that came to North America with the Holy Quran and raised the Honorable Elijah Muhammad clean him up.
That's right.
An alcoholic man.
That's right.
He went to the worst to show the powers. That's what Allah does. That's what God does. And he went and he came and raised the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Who he himself said that he was so far in the mud, all you can see is his eyes.
That's right.
So you gonna call a man like that a mister?
Right.
He's more than a mister.
He's more than a mister.
Now, you call that to an average man.
Right.
Master Fard was not an average man.
That's right.
God's presence was there.
It was there.
That's obvious for the work that's done. Give him what he is due.
That's right.
He mastered.
That's right.
Mastered. People go to college to get a master's degree. They want to be recognized.
That's right.
For that master's degree. That's work. Although they can't compare to the Master Fard Muhammad.
That's right.
He's more than a man.
That's right.
He's more than a master.
That's right. That's right.
He's more than a master. His work still lives today. Look at the people today. So when we in the exhibit and I see a Chinese and I see a European, I see people who are Caucasian and they say Assalamu alaikum.
That's right.
And they are Muslim. And they are Muslim under Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam today. I say, wow.
That's right. That's
and
right.
then they look at me and they say, and this is your mother. And this was your father. And they say, well, how do you feel? Can I take a picture? And I'm saying, who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Right.
But I am the closest they can get to what they really feel and who they really feel, what they feel about.
That's right.
So it's so overwhelming for me sometimes, and I'm chilled, get chills through me.
Oh my God.
I share tears because it's like, oh my God, look at what I'm doing that's touching the hearts of people and changing people's lives today. So I'm like, it's overwhelming sometimes, and it wows me. Wow, as W-O-W, not W-I-L-D.
That's
but wow, wow.
Go ahead.
And my mother and father was a part of this. Wow.
That's right.
Building
That's
this
right.
foundation for us to be able to walk in a building today and believe freely.
That's
to
right.
have an education, educate our children today freely. And don't have to worry about none of that. I say, wow. Wow. So what am I supposed to do with all of this? Am I supposed to just sit and let it grow dust? Am I supposed to sit and do nothing with this? When there are people who every day, put it in a vault, when there's people every day who is starving for this type of knowledge that we can share, that we can help.
Right.
This is helping Minister Farrakhan. This is helping my mother and father. This is helping you as a minister.
That's
yes.
Giving you material that you can use and say, brother, this was taught in the ministries class under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the early 30s. Can this help you today?
right.
Yes, indeed. Woo, Lord, that was.
This is what we are about. This is our responsibility. This is our responsibility. So today, by the directive of Minister Farrakhan coming to this family, knowing the value of what this family has and what we can do, this is what I am doing. It took a lot of years because he came the first time in 2002, 2002. It's 20 and 21, so it took a little time. This is the second interview, praise be to Allah, that I have personally done. The first for him on the screen like this, to an audience like this. First one, Brother Joshua, and we pray. We pray that there will be many, 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 many. I plead to the listening audience to let us come. We will come to your cities. We will do all we can. The minister told us in New Jersey, he said to the children of John and Bernstein Muhammad, take this history, go all over the world. He told us another occasion, he said, everybody should know who your mother was. He said the sisters. Then he said, "What are brothers to?" Then he said, "The whole world needs to know who
That's
your
what he
mother
said,
was."
yeah.
I said,
That's what he
"Brother
said.
Minister, it's funny you said that." I said, "Because that was the promise I made to my mother on her deathbed."
Yeah.
So we are here. We are here. And we have all the information. You can contact us. We ain't funny style. We need to do what we need to do so that Allah will bless us like He is blessing my parents. And I keep pointing back there because there's a picture behind me.
I'm saying them. I'm saying them.
Yeah.
You see
I'm
it?
saying them.
And so
I'm saying them.
I took
They
that
here.
one myself, Brother Willie.
Huh?
So I keep
You took that one yourself, huh?
Yeah, I
behind
took that one
us.
myself.
So they are behind us and they are pushing us, and we're being reminded as I look at the screen and I'm looking at them, and we're being reminded of our responsibilities that what we're supposed to do for the world and the community, so that when we go to Allah,
That's right.
we can say, when Allah asked us, "What did you do for my people?" we can say what we did.
Yeah, this is
right.
very important. And brother Nur, you have anything to add?
After that,
She dropped the mic, huh?
His name means light, but I guess it's all shining this way, right?
That's I'm shining it.
He put it on me.
Man, listen, whatever I can do to help you out the documentary with the book, man, please let me know. I'm gonna reach out to, I know other student ministers who look for opportunities for believers to, to have interaction with people such as yourselves with this history. I'm going to put the name out and say, listen, especially with this modern technology, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to be able to do it, because what you all have shared is, trust me, is a lot of people don't know.
That's right.
A lot of people, because we come to Savior's Day, everybody is ripping and running, going to post. And some people never get the opportunity to step foot in the exhibition, which they should. But I guarantee, I hope that they see this, people are gonna know, make sure you stop. So and once again, tell people how they can get access to the booklets and get in contact with you all, the website.
We have first we have the email address. The Reformer 1932 at gmail.com. We have the website, the NOI Reformer.com. And then we have the phone number,
707 Reform 1.
Reform 1.
Yes, sir. But everything is on the website. If you go to the website, everything is there. Everything is there. The NOI Reformer, right? The NOI Reformer.com. Yeah. I just learned
we just learned it this morning.
Yeah, listen, but and people, listen, I'm posting and we're posting and people are going to see this. Any closing words? And I can't say thank you all enough. Listen, I can't say
thank you enough.
Thank you enough.
I can't say thank you.
I've been wanting to get with you, Brother Willie. Been wanting to get on your show.
Listen, I've been, and it's all Allah's timing, because trust me, I've been wanting to, and I'm happy that Brother Joshua was able to get you on the show, and I pray other people go and watch that interview as well, and in the numerous others that are going to be coming, because you all are a national treasure to us. You know what I'm saying? Like for what you're like just helping us to give the insight and even get the banners. Like me and Sister Medina was talking, and she was like, somebody asked her, what did the puppy mean on a napkin? Like sometimes we get like it don't mean nothing, man. That's just what it was.
That was my mother liked puppies. She liked puppies.
Yeah. But yes, sir, we'll be Brother Joshua is
coming up.
Right, we're coming up with Brother Joshua podcast on the 14th.
On the 14th.
July 14th, which will be that's my mother's birthday.
Praise be to Allah.
So we'll be talking about the Reformer some more. I definitely can't leave without speaking about my brother-in-law, Minister Hasty Muhammad. Yes, sir. You know Brother Minister Hasty Muhammad? Yes, sir. He's in Huntsville, Alabama.
Dang.
Just turned 92 years old.
Oh, we got to get somebody to interview him.
Yes,
And look,
sir.
the producers let me know it's time to close. He's 92. Huntsville, Alabama. I'm about to start making some phone calls and somebody just get a recorder and just ask him questions. And we have to get that history.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all, brothers and sisters. I love you all. Can't wait to see you all again.
Yes,
May Allah continue to bless. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And for those who are tuning in, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you check out part 1 and you're checking out part 2. And make sure you see Brother Joshua's interview with them on July the 14th. That's with the People's Podcast. This is your brother Willie Muhammad. Make sure you subscribe to NNV. Check it out. Thank you. Peace.
God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.